Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, test, 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 test. Test. Okay. Boys and no girls, because this is Manhood Academy and not People Academy. It's another fantastic podcast coming to you. I've been wanting to do a podcast ever since the new site went up, but it's been ultra crazy, ultra busy for me lately, so I haven't been able to get to it. And it's now 1 a.m. This week has been super duper exhausting. Not to mention, I'm still trying to keep my game sharp. I've been playing a little ball lately, and I just got back. And I was gonna get back actually 2 hours earlier, but I was just doing so amazingly sick. So I said, you know what? Why not just hang out? Why not just get some extra cardio in, some extra exercise, and just teach these kids a lesson? And I was just breaking ankles left and right, just doing crazy moves. That's all you need to know about that. It's not really that important. The most important thing is your education here at Manhood Academy. So I have a billion things I want to cover, and that's the problem with these podcasts. There's too many things to cover, so I'm just going to try and jump right into it. Okay, I noticed every now and then I like to look at the videos and flip back through them, and I always notice when exactly when this video started, I was like, crap. There was a couple things in expectation management that I wanted to point out, but didn't get to, so I figured, you know what, I'm just going to watch the video with you guys, and I'm going to give you my point of view of social interaction as it's happening. Okay, so I'm going to crank this video up. Wait. I got to start over. Okay, here we go. Manhood Academy presents beep. And it's like tinkly raindrop music. Reminds me of like The Notebook. I've never seen it, but it reminds me of some like romantic comedy starting up, and I thought, what appropriate gay music for a conversation. Okay, so it starts out with, I'm going to pause it and just comment in between. It starts out with me reaching out my hand, and I'm saying hello, and you probably don't realize this, but I'm being very deliberate because there's a camera going on, and I want to make sure that whoever's watching the video realizes that there's no special tricks that you need to do. You don't need to be super smooth, cool dude. You know how they talk about in the seduction community or even popular advice columns. You know, be laid back, be smooth, be the cool guy. That's all bullshit. I'm proving that right here by I'm doing overtly either nerdy or just what I would consider retarded motions. Like, I think I start off, well, there's like a little intro. I basically yap to kind of start off, and I get her okay to film. And then, so the dice starts filming, and now I want to pretend like we're just starting a conversation. So I make it into like a little play. And you could do this when you learn how to manage your expectations, which means to have something run the way you want it, you have to know what direction you're going. I know what direction I'm going. I know how to run a social interaction. I know how to make a social interaction work. This girl is fairly retarded. She is not very good socially, as I'll point out later on. So it's difficult. I got to do a lot of work. This would be considered a difficult social interaction. This is not an easy social interaction because she is completely retarded, as you'll see. In other social interactions, I like talking to hotter chicks, and with hotter chicks, personality counts a lot because they can really respond and give you a lot to respond to. If you have a chick with a good personality, she's talking back, responding. It doesn't take her as long to warm up. This chick took forever to warm up, but a chick with a good social personality will be like, boom, boom, right in there, able to mix it up, respond to you, and give you plenty to talk about. And she'll be talking a lot herself, so she'll help with the whole conversation. And just like when you guys open up, everybody else opens up. When you shut up, nobody talks. So you guys are like chicks, basically. Right now, a lot of you are terrible at expression. Like, a lot of you will greet me or in the chat room, or you'll just, ask a question or something, and it's retarded. Basically, you're waiting for me to hold your hand through a conversation. You're in Manhood Academy to learn how to create a social interaction, how to lead a social interaction, which means you need to learn what direction you're going, first of all. That's a major thing. The reason why a lot of you can't lead a social interaction is you have no fucking clue what you're doing. You have no idea where you're going with the interaction. Even something that's not romantic with a friendship, like if you're befriending me or I'm befriending you, we're we want to, well, you don't, but I do. I want to get some enjoyment out of talking to you. I want to get some enjoyment out of interacting with you. So I want to lead the conversation in such a way that it motivates me. It becomes enjoyable to me. It's not taxing. I'm not always talking. I'm not always teaching you something, but you're giving me something back, which means you don't see, some of you don't understand, maybe a lot of you don't understand, is that you don't need to be full of, you don't need to have ridden in a hot air balloon. You don't need to have gone down the Amazon River. You don't need to have sailed the 7 seas to have an interesting personality. Sure, it helps to have stimulus from books and other people, ideas, even television. Anything that somebody has created and given to you stimulates you. When I talk to people, let's say, for instance, actually, Bogler can be stimulating at times when he's expressing himself, but sometimes talking to him is like talking to a wall. He's just a question person, interviewing. What did you do? Just a questioner, which is fine if you have you already have a basis for friendship, but if you're just starting out, you need to be the stimulus. You're the guy, which means you're the person creating the stimulus. So you need to be the one leading the conversation. And I realize I'm a guy and I have no problem leading a conversation, but I'm not here to practice because I can already lead a conversation. You can't. You guys need to practice. So you shouldn't rely on me at all to do anything in the conversation. You should consider me a retarded chick like this chick I'm talking to right here. You should consider me a goofy blonde who has no idea what I'm doing. And you should be practicing leading me every single fucking time. I will correct you all the time, as I'm prone to do. You should not be discouraged when you're corrected. You should go, look, I'm not doing this right. I'm going to try and do it right this time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this. Your approach to social interaction has to be that, this is the section that deals with exposing disorder. A lot of the problem with your social interaction is that you don't think you have a problem. It's interesting because on one hand, you do sort of admit you have a problem because you're here. You're learning social interaction. So in some sense, yes, you do admit that you do have a social interaction deficiency. You're not very skilled at interacting with others, especially women. But on the other hand, you have your ego or your pride or whatever you want to call it, the thing that prevents you from admitting you have a problem. Like you're like, classic example we always talk about is an alcoholic or even a smoker. I'm not addicted. I can quit at any time. In some sense, they realize their drinking is causing them to have job problems, driving problems, legal problems, etc. But on the other hand, they're still in denial about the problem. They're like, no, I can handle it. I can do this, I can that. You guys are the same way with social interaction. On one hand, you realize, yeah, because you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a lot of social life going on, you don't have a lot of great friends, you don't get what you want out of your relationships with others at business, at school, at work, etc. But on the other hand, you come here and you think, well, you know what, I'm not that bad. Or even when you're talking to me or interacting with me on the forums, you think you're hiding things. You think you're going to go, oh, you know what, I'm just not going to say this, and Plum's not going to know. Plum's going to be fooled. You're not saying I'm going to be fooled, but you're thinking, if I just do this, I'm not going to appear stupid. If I just do this, I'm not going to appear retarded. If I just do this, I'm going to appear cool. I'm going to get some approval from Plum. It's not the way it works. When you learn social interaction, you'll learn to read people like a book, because what you don't say is just as important as what you do say. So a lot of times you think you guys are hiding things because you're not saying them. It's not hiding anything. Your condition is out there because I have practiced interacting with others, and I see patterns, and we've written about those patterns in the ebook, and so we're basically giving you some insight into what creates a good social interaction. So immediately right off the bat, if you're the guy who's playing it cool, doesn't want to go too far, doesn't want to look stupid, etc., you're the guy who's not gonna you're the guy who's not gonna do well. A lot of you guys have that problem in one way or another. To some degree, you're stepping out and practicing for the first time. That's great, but you got to realize that if you're busy trying to hide your experiences, trying to hide your failures, trying to pretend, or trying not to pretend, but trying not to look stupid, you're going to have a lot of problems progressing. Take, for instance, one of our great students who's doing really well right now, franchise. Franchise is indicative of this problem, where he'll make a lot of excuses. I don't mean to put you on the spot, franchise, but you're a good example. He'll make a lot of excuses for the things he does because he doesn't want to appear stupid. And he's a very bright guy. He understands a lot of the theory in the book, but he doesn't have a lot of practical application. So he'll say this or that, and it's a bullshit excuse to just not appear stupid. It's a bad habit that develops over time. You guys develop kind of like nervous tics, like poker tells, where you let me know what your cards are when you do these certain things over and over and over. And I'm really good at picking these up. That's why I teach social interaction. So you're not hiding anything. By the way, franchise is vastly improved. If you can see, he's one of the great students to follow if you're reading reports and expression, practicing your expression. He's one of the good ones to follow. So I'm all over the place right now because I'm trying to think of 200 different things. I want to talk about why we changed candid expression to regular expression, or just good expression, or conveying your person. And I want to talk about a little more about how franchise has improved. And I also want to get to this video. So I got a billion things jumping around in my head. So this is part of, I'm kind of demonstrating in some sense, conveying your person, conveying my experience to you right now. So I have this jumble of thoughts bouncing all over my head, and it's plus the fatigue, add in the fatigue of playing ball for a few hours, and my mind just does not want to concentrate right now. It wants to go to sleep right now. So this is me demonstrating expression, good expression. You don't have to feel on top of the world to have good expression. You just have to be able to convey your experience, how you're reacting to things, what your experience is of things to the person you're talking to. In this case, I'm doing a podcast. Imagine if I just said, oh, there is my email. Somebody sent me an email here. I won't turn this off. I'm just going to peek at it. Oh, fucking Samsung, you cocksuckers. Don't send me fucking things when I'm in the middle of a podcast, you cocksuckers. Okay, Samsung, fucking wasting my time trying to throw my train of thought. You don't need to have, you don't need to feel, you don't need to be in state. As you notice, I'm not stuttering, but I'm like grabbing for words and ideas, almost like forming sentences in little pieces. I'm saying, I'm pausing, I'm using like, I'm doing a lot of retarded things that I would consider conversationally retarded and unnecessary. But that's okay because I'm still able to convey my experience to you, so you get a sense of what it's like to be me. And this is one of the most crucial and attractive things you can do when you're talking to another person, when you're attracting another person, when you're forming a friendship with another person. This is something you want to practice over and over and over again until it becomes you, until it's not just something you turn on like a light switch. This is not a light switch. This is not a magic trick. This is not a juggling act you're going to be doing. This is not a magic conversational gimmick you're trying to attempt here. This is actually you. This will become your regular expression. Like when you're talking to people, sometimes you guys have a habit of saying, "What's up? What's up, bro? What's up?" That's not conversation. That's laziness. That's convenience. That's you expecting the other person to tell you something, or you just basically not wanting to talk and just say hello in a generic way, accomplishing nothing. So many friendships, or quote friendships, are based on what's up, bro, and nothing. Those are mindless, pointless, nowhere conversations. You don't want that to take place. You want to practice sharing your experience, because your experience is valuable to other people. Even maybe sometimes the problem is you don't think like that your experience is that meaningful or that significant or that appealing to another person. It doesn't have to be an amazing, super duper experience. Like, let's say we're just taking a basic experience like looking at a cloud or looking at a tree. you don't have to be a super duper philosopher to make that experience interesting, compelling, appealing, attractive to another person. You just have to convey your particular specific experience of that cloud or that tree. Like if I'm looking at a tree and it makes me think of home, or it makes me think of good times, or when I was a kid, or building a tree house. Whenever I think of trees, right off the bat I think of like a willow tree, because I used to build tree houses when I was a kid with one of these friends, and I always remember this guy. He has glasses, and we take some boards. I don't even know how we even thought of this, but we're like, you know what? Let's build a tree house. And it wasn't even a tree house. You know how you see like on the Brady Bunch or some stupid shows that actually build a house and it looks like a little mini house up in a tree? That's not a tree house. What we did is we took like 2x4s and old wood and whatever we found, and then we took it up to the top of the tree, and we took hammers and nails and just started nailing stuff to the tree. So eventually we had like platforms in between 2 or 3 branches, and the willows would cover it, and these huge long green strands in the summer, and they would actually be so thick that you could go up to different parts of the tree. It's like you had like different levels in this tree house. The tree house was really the tree, and the levels were just places where if you got to the next level of the tree, you could basically just stand or sit on it. And the tree was so thick with these leaves that you basically pull them apart like curtains. So you had different rooms that were based around curtains of leaves that you really couldn't even see into. So they're actually, you felt like you had privacy, and it was like a secret club or something. And one time I remember this guy was like climbing up to the top, and he took a dump. I didn't realize this, but the bathroom was at the top of our tree, and it was just a little place where you'd squat, and the crap would actually fall out of the tree. So you'd see falling crap. The treehouse. So anyway, that's what I think about when I think of trees sometimes. And this is just conveying my experience, my thought process, candidly conveying my thought process to you, what experiences, what smells, what scents, what ideas I get, what concepts form, anything associated with trees that have something to do with my experience. If I can convey that to you, that becomes compelling, that becomes interesting, that gives me a chance to basically see that tree. You see that tree through my eyes, which is different than what you bring to it. Looking at a tree. When you're looking at the tree, I'm sure you take all your education, all your experiences, all your knowledge of trees, all your associations with green and bark and branches and leaves, and you have a certain view and a perspective of what a tree is. So your goal now is to convey that to me, because I don't have that perspective. As amazing as Plum is, and as competent as he is at social interaction, guess what? Even though you feel retarded, and you may be retarded at social interaction, you have a particular experience that I have not experienced. It's your experience. All you have to do is practice conveying that experience to me. There's no secret trick to social interaction. There's no super duper club. I used to think the cool guys, at school had, there was cool kids, there was jocks or whatever. I don't know. I don't really think jocks are that cool, but I'm sure there was like some super elite group of leather jacket wearing guys that I thought were cool, and they were talking about cool things. Like I thought, you know what, you got to either know from birth what's cool to talk about, or they get to a certain age or a certain group where they just all of a sudden start talking about cool things. I was like, what are those cool things they're talking about? They're talking nonsense. They are talking gibberish. If you learn social interaction, you won't even care what other people are talking about. You'll want to express what your experiences are. And that, followed by or headed by direction, I should say, the direction you're going in, is what attracts people to you, is what makes your conversation attractive. People will start associating things, what you wear, your face. Your face may be a plain face. If you don't talk and you just look at your face objectively, it may not be that striking. You may have your eye up a little higher than the other eye. You may have a big nose, whatever. But if you learn how to convey your experience of the world to another person, you become attractive. They will start looking at that big nose and go, you know what? That's an attractive nose. They will start looking at the things you wear, drive, say, and go, that's a cool guy. That's an attractive thing he has. I want to wear those shoes he has. That's Michael Jordan. If you look at Michael Jordan, to a lot of people, to women, he looks sexy. Or to a lot of guys, he just has this cool, bald-headed look. But if you look at that guy, or he had no basketball skill, he had no celebrity status, you wouldn't think of him as that cool. Or I should say that handsome. You would just see another black guy. He's not particularly handsome, but because he has certain accomplishments and things he's done. Now, when people look at him, especially his shoes, they go, "Those are cool shoes to wear. I want to wear Jordans. I want to pay $200 to wear a pair of Jordans." Why? Because he has authority. In this case, social authority, but you're going to practice developing your personal authority, which means you're going to have to learn how to get your expectations met by applying pain and pleasure. Oh, I feel like I'm ultra concentrating right now just to make sense, which is taxing right now, but I'm trying to make this at least somewhat semi-coherent for you guys. Okay, let's get back to, well, we first start out. We got basically 20 seconds of this video, then I went off on this long thing, and now we're back. So I'm trying to get this girl to basically open up to me, and I've got her permission to tape, so I'm starting now, and I'm reaching across and introducing myself, and I'm using just overt, goofy gestures. As you notice, we went over to Salvation Army, we bought like $5 worth of clothing. This shirt is ridiculously baggy and ill-fitting, and thing is flying out at the bottom, untucked. I'm wearing lime green pants with white sneakers. Thing just looks embarrassingly bad. But this is just to prove to you that you don't need cool clothing. It doesn't hurt to not look retarded, but as you can see, great social interaction supersedes your outfit. So if you can't afford cool clothes, or you have no sense of style, or you don't want to be a chick shopping for things, don't worry about it. Just become competent at social interaction. You won't have to worry about it. You can wear a t-shirt and jeans. You can wear polo shirts. You can wear the most generic outfits. Your outfits are the least of your worries. If you become competent at social interaction, you're going to be attracted to anybody. Now I can talk to people, and I could come home from the gym. I could be super sweaty playing basketball and talk to people. It does not matter. As long as you're open and you're able to convey your experience, that becomes attractive. Like, I can even use that. I could say, look, you know what? I'm so sweaty. I'm all dirty. I just come back from the gym. I got sweat all over me, dripping all over me. I can make that attractive, even though people will tell you, oh, you can't talk to hot girls when you're all sweaty. They're going to be disgusted. Wrong. You just have to be able to manage your expectations. If they say, oh, you're all stinky, you're all smelly, well, what would I do? I would disapprove of that, because that's violating my expectations. I want them to have a good response to me, regardless of what I'm wearing, if I'm sweating, if I'm dripping, if I'm smelly, etc. I have certain expectations that I expect people to follow when I'm talking to them. And one of them is, I expect them to have a good time when I'm talking to them. I expect girls to respond to my personality, not that I came from the gym. I expect them to forgive me for coming to the gym. So if they're going to complain about it, I'm going to disapprove of that. I'm going to apply pain. So I would, say, did I actually set myself up to actually give an actual example? If I say, oh, I just came from the gym, all smelly, sweaty, oh, gross, I might just say, shut up. Or I just might keep talking. I might ignore them completely. There's many ways that are mentioned in the ebook of how to apply pain. You can choose any number of them. Okay, so let's get back to this video. I immediately reach across and shake her hand, and just right off the bat, I notice she is just shy, reserved, and not very socially competent. So let's get to it.
Lovely to meet you, Rachel. Nice finger touching thing.
And notice I say, lovely to meet you, Rachel. I'm trying to overemphasize and speak super clearly so you guys can pick it up on the camera. But this is not necessarily normally how I would interact with a person, so don't get the idea that you have to be super overt with your gestures. I noticed while I was watching, I was thinking, these guys are going to think that they have to be clowny almost with their gestures, like stick your hand out really far and point. I noticed at one point I was pointing, and I don't think I would ever, well, I do gesture when I'm talking typically, but I don't think I would point in that way, in such an overt, it looks kind of cartoony the way I'm pointing at some things or doing some things. I'll make note when it comes up. But you don't have to be overt. You don't have to be all crazy with your gestures. But I'm just giving you a kind of example of, I'm trying to overdo the gestures versus underdo them, so they're clear, so they're bold, so you can see what it is to talk with your hands, to express with your hands, and to have voice inflection like I'm doing right now. Sometimes I'm emphasizing words or overemphasizing things, so you can kind of get a sense of what it is to have inflection, or what it means to emphasize a point. Like I'm doing that, emphasize. I'm actually moving my hands, like I'm spreading them wide, 5 fingers splayed out when I say emphasize. So you get a sense of what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do in this video here.
Well, I don't like that, Lil. Let's go with a full-on shake.
Okay, so she's shaking and she does like the limp fish, and I'm like, I don't like it when chicks give me the limp fish. It's just like, I like enthusiasm when I'm talking. So immediately, what do? It violates my conversational expectations. So what do I have to do? The secret mystery style gambit method, right? Where I do wrong. I try to think of something clever, but my brain wasn't functioning. Basically, I'm just applying pain. So I'm disapproving. I'm saying, look, that's not how I like it. I like it done this way. So, nope. I think I lost actually some of the iMovie sucks balls. I think I actually lost some of the captions on here because it seems like there should have been captions on here. But another quick point. Some of you guys will ask questions like, "What time is it?" Or you'll actually not like that. You'll make statements, but you'll raise your voice at the end, like you'll say, "So we're going to the movies?" Or let's see, that's questioning. Let me think about what I'm trying to say here. You'll make statements and you'll raise your voice at the end. You'll have a high inflection at the end. Like, and then I was going to this thing, and then, you know how chicks talk and the Valley Girls, they go, and then we were at Becky's, and then we were talking to Tina, and she was like, da da da. Yeah, you know how you raise your voice at the end? So sometimes guys have a bad habit of doing that, and especially when you're talking and you want to be authoritative, you don't want to make your sentences into question marks. Especially when you're asking the time, like, so you ask the time, excuse me, like you're asking permission to ask the time. You shouldn't be asking permission to ask the time. You should be saying, look, what time is it? And make it almost like a statement. What time is it? You know, you make a statement, what time is it? Not, what time is it? Or, what time is it? What time is it? I can't even do it right now. But you shouldn't be a valley girl when you're asking the time. This basically lets people know, when you raise your voice at the end, it becomes a question, which lets people know I'm not sure of what I'm saying. I'm kind of like not clear. I'm guessing at the meaning. That's why my voice is going up. So when you're hearing it, you're thinking I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And so this basically says I have no direction and that I'm a girl with no direction. And really I should be a guy with the direction. I should be leading you, telling you what to do, speaking, definitely, etc. Like this. But when I'm doing this, and especially when I'm talking to a girl, it lets her know this guy has no direction. Therefore, he can't create order. Of course, she's not saying this to herself in her head, but she's getting the sense that basically, I'm explaining it to you, but in her head, she's basically like, this guy doesn't have a spine. This guy is like a dork guy. She's just basically going to categorize you as a dork or nerd. But what's really going through her mind is there's no order in this guy. This guy has no sense of direction. So he's the reason why you're talking like this is because you don't know where you're going. So you're kind of asking her a question, which basically you're saying, I want you to lead me because I have no idea where I'm going. And especially if she's a girl, she doesn't want to lead you because that's not her job. That's your job. So if you're giving her your job, you're basically telling her, guess what? I'm incompetent. I don't know what I'm doing, which essentially means I'm not attractive. So don't respect me. Don't fear my authority. How can a person like, imagine if a cop went up to you and go, you know what? I think you're speeding. You shouldn't speed. You would be like, if you heard a cop speak like that, you would think immediately, how do I get out of this ticket? This guy's a pushover. I can get out of this ticket. Right? If a guy's like, hey, you know what you were doing out there? Yeah, you're speeding. Okay. Here's right? Authoritative. Just definite direction. He knows what he's doing. When he speaks like he knows what he's doing, you follow that cue. You follow the sound, the inflection of his voice, and you're like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's in charge. He's an authority. I better follow his authority. Okay. So back to the handshake. It's not what I want. I basically apply pain, disapproval. This is how I want it. I even show her my expectation. This is how I want to do it.
That's better. See that?
That's better. See that? And I even, when she does it right, I say, I apply pleasure. I validate her. I approve of her. I say, look, that's right. Yes, that's pleasurable to her. When she gets it right and I approve, that's pleasurable.
That makes me happy. That makes people across the world.
That makes me happy. I say, that makes me happy. And I say, I also had some stupid thing, and that makes people across the world happy. It doesn't even have to make sense. I don't know if you notice this, but I say some nonsensical things to her at times. And it doesn't even have to make sense. The approval, as long as you're not talking like this and asking questions, which basically says, I don't know how to lead, and I'm asking you how to lead, as long as I'm definite with my approval, I could say it makes monkeys around the world happy. It's really irrelevant. What she's responding to is my definite authority, my direction, and my approval. My approval is, look, this is my approval. It's okay if I approve. I have the authority here. So you're responding my authority. When I say all the people around the world approve, My authority is behind that. It's backing that. It's like backed by the United States Bank or something, So she's responding to my authoritative voice. She's not thinking, does this logically make sense that people around the world are happy if I shake his hand the right way? No, she doesn't give a fuck about that. All she's responding to is me leading the interaction with my expectations and the direction I'm going. I know which way I'm going. She's just following. If you know which way you're going, girls will follow. That's all she's doing. She's like, oh, this guy knows where he's going. I'm just following. Easy conversation.
Especially if you want to turn on. If you do this little thing, that's why nobody's calling back. They're like, what? Right?
She does this little fingertip hand grab, which I just hate. And I just make some excuse and say, I show the disapproval. When you do this, I disapprove of it. I say, I make a bad association. I just, right off the cuff, I just say, see, when you do that, nobody calls you back. I mean, you can do anything. When you do that, kittens die. See, they hate it when you do that. Everybody likes it when you do this. Who's everybody? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? It doesn't have to make sense. It can be totally incongruent. But as long as you're authoritative with it, that's all that matters. When I'm giving her my approval or disapproval, I'm saying it definitely in a way that lets her know that I'm leading here. You're following. You're not leading me. I'm leading you. So I'm letting her know what my expectations are and when she's violating them, and I'm applying pain and pleasure accordingly. Again, not randomly, but accordingly, where it's merited.
Rachel did what? Later, Rachel.
She
Rachel.
laughed.
My favorite color is mauve.
Okay, now I say, hey, Rachel. I'm thinking while I'm talking because I've no script here, so I'm going. I'm just talking about favorite color, so I'm thinking I'm going to ask her favorite color. So when I started thinking about this, I'm trying to. The reason why this conversation is kind of hard is because I have a camera right in my face. So I'm trying to think of the audience and what will be educational for you. So I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to speak in this overt, goofy, blatant tone, so everything's clear, and I'm trying to make my gestures bold, overly bold, or overly apparent. What's the word I'm looking for? Where the gesture is just overdone. I don't know, but that word, look it up if you find it. Let me know. So I'm trying to do that. Plus, I have to attract her. Plus, I've got to think of things just to basically talk about. And so the challenge is not. The challenge is to do all these things at once. So now, again, these are what I would consider stupid. Like I'm asking colors. Who cares? But I'm just showing you that you could talk about anything and still be attractive. So I'm trying to think of not cool things to say, because I want to go to cool things. I would basically talk about what I like to do, blah, 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 and what she likes to do, etc., and make it into a quote, quote, cool conversation. But I want to show you that you don't need to have a cool conversation. To be a cool guy, you just have to express your experiences and wield your authority. Manage your expectations, etc. So I'm talking about my favorite color, which is, I don't know, I said mauve for some reason. It sounds like a Shakespeare play, so I'm going to play it. Here we go.
Mixed in with indigo.
Mixed in with indigo.
Those little spots of white.
Little spots of white. I'm doing some hand gestures. I lean forward and touch her in some stupid, overt gesture, which is totally unnecessary, but I lean forward and just to make it dramatic. What's your favorite color? Again, we're talking about favorite colors. It does, my voice and gestures do not warrant, this subject does not warrant these type of overt gestures or this type of treating it like we're talking about cancer research. We're talking about colors, and I'm like, my favorite color is mauve mixed with indigo. What is your favorite color? Right? I'm sounding like the world's going to end, and this is a crucial, important speech. Again, I'm just leading the conversation. She's just responding to me leading. So she says her favorite color is like terracotta or something. Okay. I can tell already she's retarded, so I'm gonna have to even teach her how to respond, because when I'm on camera here, I want to basically talk to a chick who's gonna have good responses, because not only is it gonna make it easier, but you could kind of see what to do. I could show you more things to do when you're talking to a girl, leading a girl, etc. But since she's so retarded, I'm not only gonna have to lead everything, but I'm also going to teach her how to, I'm going to have to basically teach her how to respond the way I want her to respond. And you can do this when you're talking to girls. If they don't give you the response you want, you say, look, this is how you should respond. I like it when you do this, not this. See? But it's helpful if you know social interaction. It's also helpful if you don't just go like something crazy. I mean, as long as you're not telling her to, strip tease or anything like that, but, handshakes, something that simple. Like she gives a handshake you don't like, you can teach her how to do a good handshake. She responds you don't like, or she's not enthusiastic, you can teach her how to give a response. Like, just like if you were talking to a girl you really liked, you'd be happy, you'd be enthusiastic about it. That's what you should expect of the person you're attracted to, how they respond to you. So this is the expectation I basically have for any chick. So I've extrapolated this and expanded this to apply to any chick I'm talking to. So I'm like, look, cut. I don't mean cut the camera, I mean cut her, what she's doing. That's why I said cut. I'm like, stop. That's not what I like. I'm showing disapproval, basically. I'm applying pain because she's violating my conversation expectations. Holy shizot. It's almost 40 minutes. Okay, I thought I would be... I was going to try and do this in 10 minutes. Yeah, wishful thinking. Okay, so we're not going to get fully through this, but I'm going to try and do as much as possible. Here we go.
You with a terracotta, you look like a deer caught in headlights. Relax.
You look like a deer caught in headlights. So I know that I'm a new person. I'm like a stranger to her, and she's just like on guard and just kind of like not knowing what to do. She's basically like, you put her on stage because the camera's there too. But the cool thing about social interaction is once you start leading and the girl takes your cues and you're leading the conversation and you're not like, what do I do? What do I do? She'll forget the camera. The camera will become irrelevant because your authority is like a comfort. It's like a safety blanket. It's like a safety net. Once she's like tightroping with a camera, it's like walking a tightrope. But if your authority is like a safety net, that's why girls feel comforted when you have authority over them. They get that security. That's why they're attracted. Like you're meeting that security need. So when my authority is basically leading this whole thing, she's gonna become comfortable and forget the camera's there. It's like irrelevant almost. Okay, so I said shoulders back.
Practice like this. I'm going to give you a quick 2-second tutorial.
Okay, so she's basically making excuses for why she sucks at meeting my expectations, and I'm like, just shut up. I'm going to teach you I'm going to give you a tutorial quickly of how to respond, how to basically be a socially competent person. I'm going to give her a quick tutorial. Here we go.
And like how to have good body language. Watch this.
You get her body language.
Very good right now. Your face.
It's squinted from this
Right,
side.
go practice this. Watch this. Go like this.
There, now it's on.
Okay, so I think I was talking about her face, and she wasn't making a lot of expression or something with her face. So I'm like, here, I'm going to teach you how to respond with your face. So I'm basically leading her in like a little activity because it kills two birds with one stone because it's something to talk about. Plus, she's not meeting my expectations, so I'm teaching her how to meet my expectations. And she's like already trying to justify herself. Oh, it's sunlight. I'm squinting. Blah blah. Blah, irrelevant.
Smile. No, big smile. Huge.
Big smile.
Like you just found a new pony on Christmas.
Okay, I'm telling her to smile, but she's nervous, so she's like, I don't know how to smile. So she's giving me like a half smile. And so I'm basically, to get people to meet your expectations, you have to give them incentive and give them reason. It's really not a good idea for me here to go, here, I'm going to teach you how to smile, here, I'm going to teach you how to do all these things, because she has no incentive. I'm like a stranger to her. And it's great I have authority, which is attractive, but I don't have a lot of expression, I haven't expressed a lot of my experiences yet. So she doesn't have a lot of incentive. I haven't given her a reason to laugh. So just to tell her to smile without giving her a reason to smile, like I would tell a joke, or not a joke, but I would just say something and it would be funny, and then she would smile at that. So I haven't given her any incentive to smile. So me saying you need to smile when you're talking to me, do this, that, she doesn't have enough emotional investment. She doesn't have enough incentive and enough reason to do that. A lot of times, like, who was High School 101? It's talking about chicks who don't respond to him. Number one, I'm pretty sure he has terrible expression. Number two, well, I don't know. He's been working on it, but again, I haven't seen him. I've just seen one of his videos, and it was... okay, let's just say it wasn't the greatest. But anyway, his authority, not there. He's the guy who doesn't have any direction, so he has no fucking clue what he's doing. So the chick is like, of course, this guy has no order, not attractive. And he's saying, look, I'm saying authoritatively, you should be doing what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm going to call you a bitch, or I'm going to kill you, or bury you in my basement. No, the social interaction doesn't work that way. You have to give people incentive. So here, I'm a shy person. I'm directing her, but at the same time, I haven't given her incentive yet. So I'm kind of letting her off the hook in a sense, because I realize I haven't stimulated her enough to smile.
Okay, now you're sad. Like that pony just ran away and doesn't want to talk to you.
So I'm giving her a story for incentive. I'm talking about a pony for why she should smile. I'm making up a stupid story on the spot. I'm basically saying, look, you got a pony for Christmas, so you're happy. Be happy. The pony is like, it's like small, it's tiny, it's got little mane, it's pink, it's blah blah blah. I can make up any details basically, but just to kind of give her experience. That experience will cause pleasure for her. It's like me telling you a story right now. This podcast is giving you pleasure because I'm leading you. I'm telling you I'm giving you knowledge of social interaction. I'm having a good expression. I'm expressing things in such a way that you can enter into the experience of what I'm talking about, especially the social interaction here. So it's pleasurable for you. In the same way, I'm creating a pleasurable experience for her to smile at. So I'm saying, you need to smile like you just got a new pony for Christmas. Now that pony's, now I want you to practice being sad. That pony ran away. He doesn't love you anymore. He packed his stuff in a knapsack. He packed some sandwiches. He packed a root beer. He packed a Coca-Cola. He packed some books because he might get lonely. So I'm basically just telling a story and, just riffing. It doesn't even have to make sense, but this is just giving her some incentive to smile.
Exactly. Okay, now, serious. That pony has expressed its feelings toward you. It's into you. Serious face. Okay, now you're ready. And roll. Okay, 2 more questions. Here we go. Ready?
Okay, so I give her another chance to meet my expectations.
Rachel.
Rachel, nice to meet you. No, watch.
Okay, so she tries to shake my hand again. She says, my name's Rachel. It's just stupid. She's basically like a stone. It's basically like talking to the wall. So now I'm going to basically demonstrate how I want her to meet my expectations. Instead of telling her to meet my expectations, I'm going to show her how to do that. Again, this is more of good expression because not only people are not mind readers. They don't know what you want. You have to be explicit. You have to tell them. A lot of you just say like, do this, I like this, but you're not explicit. People aren't you. They aren't mind readers. You don't realize that. So that's a lot of you guys have lousy expression because you don't know how to bring people in your experience. You don't know how to explain your expectations to others. You don't know how to get others to meet your expectations. So you need to practice this. And here I am. I'm demonstrating what I like. Here's how I want her to respond to me.
Look at this. Ask me who I am.
Who are you?
I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, see how, watch how I came across enthusiastic now. I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you.
See?
Ready? Here we go.
Now she smiled and laughed because I said, I'm Rachel, nice to meet you. I pretended I was her, right? Doing exactly how I wanted it to be. She smiled and laughed. So she's approving of it. She's like, oh, that's something that stimulates me. That's something that's pleasurable because I'm leading the interaction. I'm giving her an experience. I'm like a movie to her, basically.
Hey, what's your name again? I forgot.
I'm Rachel. Nice to
So
meet
that's
you.
you. So with her.
See, now she's laughing and getting into it. I'm like pretending I'm just kind of role-playing with her. So what's your name? Oh, I'm Rachel. Now she's doing it. She's laughing. Hi, I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you. Oh, you're doing it right. See, I'm approving. Now she's having a pleasurable experience. She's getting into. She's opening. When she's laughing and smiling, that means she's opening. When she's not laughing and smiling, she's not giving me approval. I know something's wrong. I haven't stimulated her. I haven't given her a reason to smile and laugh. So I need to get that smile and laugh out of her. So I need to start leading her, giving her a pleasurable experience that'll stimulate her to meet my expectations. Oh my gosh. That was a good hour almost. Okay, I'm done here. I'm exhausted. I'm actually kind of not excited, but I'm revved up because I've been talking and I got myself into I can't even say the word, I've gotten myself into I'm trying to say this word. I know what the word is and I know how to say it, but just the combination of the word is just not coming out. But I'm going to say it. I'm determined. See, I'm practicing. This is practicing. You see the rubber meet the road right now. Plum doesn't know how to say enthusiastic in combination with another word. So he is practicing over and over again. He's screwing it up. But because he knows that sharing his experience is attractive, it's okay to screw up. See, even Plum screws up. Plum doesn't just have this script super outlined. It's like 5-page essay, and I just say every point and meet every point. No ums, no pauses, no nothing. I don't stumble for words. But even despite all that, still an attractive expression. Okay, so I forgot what I was going to say now. Okay, so talking this much has gotten me into an enthusiastic state. There we go. See, I did it. And enthusiastic. I'm determined, so I'm practicing. So it's got me into an enthusiastic state, not an excited state, but I'm still exhausted, so I'm going to cut it here, and I think we've gotten far enough. So I hope you got something out of this. We only got 2 minutes, 37 seconds in. I'm going to try and work through this again, so hopefully we'll work through this whole video. and hopefully I'll be able to enunciate better and won't be exhausted. Thanks for coming. Enjoy, students.